Welcome to the bunker. Join Nikki, Rosella, Robert, Kayla, and Cole Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time as we traverse the portals of the universe. Discover the secrets of the cryptids. Uncover the truth of conspiracy. And explore the hauntings of our world. And once again, welcome to the S-4 Paranormal Bunker.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the S-4 Paranormal Bunker. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a rough week. I'm not going to lie. But, thankfully, we have the youthful energy in the house tonight. Friend, we have Kimberly and Emma with us to talk about Next Generation Paranormal. So, I want to know what their thoughts are on some of the things we've seen and some of the things we've heard of. Friend, continue going. So how's everybody doing tonight?
Better than the last week.
That's good.
Really rough. Really, really rough. But yeah, better than the last week. So
yeah, Nikki, I'm still sending prayers for you and everyone affected by that. So
I so appreciate that. And I know their family and friends would do that, or appreciate it as well.
Friend.
So, thank you.
Yeah. Me too, yeah. I'm sorry to have had to tell you that.
Okay, so I'm just going to make a statement real quick.
Yep.
I had a friend who unalived themselves. And there were a lot of extenuating circumstances with it, to say the very least. That's all I can publicly say, and that's all that I feel that is okay to say. So, it's been a hell of a shock in every way possible with a lot of people. And on that note, that's all I'm going to say on it.
Yep.
So,
on a more worldly note, with everything going on in the world right now, I also want to put thoughts and prayers out there to everyone that is affected by, everyone's been watching the news, obviously. We've got bombs going off in 16 different countries. And it's not just those who are involved with the war that are getting hurt. So, to all those all the innocents out in the world, friend, we're praying for you. Friend.
Yes.
So.
definitely.
On a better note, friend, Emma, are you in the room?
Yeah.
You're rock on. Friend. Kimberly wants to say hi?
Hi.
Hi. So, Kimberly had a list of things she would like to talk about here. And I believe Emma made a small list as well. Rock on.
Yeah.
So
I have two things.
you have two things?
With several notes, pages of notes.
3.
That sounds like what I used to do.
It's like pages.
I have 12 things.
Yeah, Kimberly went with a long list, no notes.
I was just trying to do notes before.
So, Emma, what's the first thing on your list?
Sky trumpets.
The sky trumpets.
Oh, the 7 trumpets.
Friend.
Yeah, it's been happening a lot.
It's what?
Been happening a lot. There's a lot of videos on the internet about them.
Yeah.
There are. I've seen quite a few videos of them being recorded from like what I want to call skyscrapers. And
Oh.
people are like, what is this? Like they're apartment buildings in other countries, but they're like 20 stories up, and they're actually hearing this. And then you have attached videos to those videos of other people in the building that are doing the same recording, but you can see that it's the same building but a different location in the building, so like a different apartment. And it's mind-bending. It's truly mind-bending, and it's all happening all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really weird.
So I'm
Yes,
not going to lie.
I agree.
I have not seen much about this. I think it's because as a 40-year-old man, I don't have the patience to actually watch those videos half the time.
Come on.
A lot of it's on paranormal caught on camera.
So, like, the only thing I've ever really seen that in, and it's not even real, is the movie Red State. Where it was used as a distraction.
Oh.
I would imagine that, just like Kimberly, Emma has never seen that movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is not really a movie for kids.
I might have.
Yeah.
But
I've seen one rated R movie.
well, it's not that it's rated R, it's the fact that it's... You wouldn't even be entertained by this. Even the guy who made it wasn't entertained by it. He did it for a favor for the studio.
I saw a movie
A heck of a
with
favor.
Grandpa.
Well, it's Kevin Smith.
I mean, sometimes you just need a little money. You know?
Yeah, actually, that's exactly it, Emma. That is a very good point. Sometimes you have to do something you don't want to do in order to make the stuff you want to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
True.
you guys might have seen shorts of them. You probably never seen one of the movies, but do you know who Jay and Silent Bob are?
Nope.
No? Okay, that's a good thing.
Oh my god.
That's a very good thing.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know who Jay and Silent Bob are, Rosella?
No, I don't think so.
It's a movie. It's a series.
Yeah, Kevin Smith made a bunch of movies on them. He started with Clerks. And then moved on to Chasing Amy, Dogma.
Oh,
Dogma. I love
the
Dogma.
only Kevin I like is Kevin Hart.
My brother's Kevin.
Well, Kevin Hart's part of the paranormal.
And the Kevin I'm in a cult with.
Did you just say I'm in a cult with?
I'm in 3.
What?
Wow.
With my friends. One
That's
of them
kind
is...
of real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah, no, we might have to have a conversation about that afterwards.
Yeah, I'm like,
We sacrifice
And what's your
bugs.
version of a cult?
Yeah, well, they are the worst cults
There's
in the
a
world.
difference.
Like,
Come on.
they're not the worst, the most pathetic cults in the world.
One of them's devoted to Kevin. We just like Kevin.
I used to sacrifice bugs with my old friend. We would go hunting for grasshoppers,
I love
and we
doing
would
that.
put them on his trampoline, and we'd
Oh my
give them
God.
heart attacks.
That's
And
a good
his
idea.
mom, I know, and his mom made us bury them all in their backyard. I think they're still there
I just
today.
throw them in a lake.
You know what, though, personal opinion?
Ugh.
You gave that grasshopper the jump he could never do himself.
God.
Okay.
I threw a grasshopper
Also,
at
a
you
heart
once.
attack he could never have unless we jumped him.
God.
So back to the original topic. Do you guys think that these sky trumpets could be something mundane?
These are
I
not
don't
my
What
know
is
what that
containing?
word
What
means.
is, okay.
I know what it means, I don't know.
Something that's not paranormal. Something that's just a regular sound that we're
Yeah.
mistaking for something.
Obo dobo? No.
Well, why
I
don't you
think
read him your note?
Yeah, I was going
Yeah.
to. Well, based on, like, the research or whatever I did, some scientists still don't know why the sky makes the sounds, but they say it could be a weather event, but it happens in all weather.
I thought it was a religion thing.
So, that's the first theory. There's many.
Sorry.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 theories, apparently.
Hey, keep moving on.
Okay.
I know.
So, friend, Nikki, what do you like? What would you attribute these to?
Well, at first, when I first started hearing them a number of years ago via video, we were having things happen here, but it wasn't from that. I mean, what I was hearing in the video resembled the kind of work that happens when construction work that happens. I'm making the correlation. I'm not saying this is what it was. We were having a lot of work being done along I-5, and they were drilling even late into the night, up until 2 a.m., drilling pylons, gigantic metal pylons, straight into the ground. And every time they would hit the top of it to bang it into the ground, it would resonate, and we're talking up to a number of miles away. It had a ring to it. It had like the tone of a bell. And they were doing this around residential areas. I can't imagine what these families and seniors and young folks would consider. I mean, it had to have been astronomical living right up against I-5 and hearing that all the way up until 2 a.m. And this went on for months at a time. And then finally, I mean, they were going beyond noise ordinances and things here in Washington State. So the I-5 corridor between Northgate all the way up into Linwood was just really loud. And like I said, it would resonate out for a number of at least 2 miles out, if not more than that. And so there are things that will make gigantic sounds, and they can sound like that for hours at a time. The problem is that it doesn't resonate in the same way as a quote-unquote trumpet. So that's the correlation that I'm making, but it has the beginning sound of it. It's like the doo-doo-doo type of sound, because when it's hit, when that kind of iron is hit, it makes this like not just the doo-doo-doo, but this bong sound. And when they did it enough, like within moments of each other or even seconds of each other, it literally sounded like a freaking bell. It was really strong, really loud, and it was very, very concerning there for a long time until we went, oh my God, this is what that sound is? You've got to be... And they're doing this in the middle of the night, 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. That's nuts. Why are they doing it so late? So there's that aspect of it. Then there's the aspect of it that there's so many different things to this. The videos that I actually saw, it actually sounded like it was coming from the sky itself.
Yeah, it easily sounds like the sky.
Yeah, and so one of the videos that I saw, one of the, I thought it was a man who was talking about how they did not know of any construction for within like 5 to 6 miles of where they were filming from. And they kept talking about how it literally sounds like it's from the sky. Well, the only thing that I know that's in the sky are satellites and ET ships, or U.S. government ships that aren't undocumented, unregistered publicly yet. They're part of deep ops stuff. So the other side to that is when here's another correlation. When the Sasquatch made a connection to me, this was end of 2019, I believe. Right after I saw you guys, Cole, I think it was the September 2019, the Paranormal Con that you guys did. So it was somewhere between September and December. And there was and I just lost my train of thought. Bugger to beans. But there was a sound that was being projected, and Sasquatch. So when the Sasquatch connected to me and were showing me things, only I didn't realize it was through their eyes, the sound that the government was drilling into Mount Baker, the Sasquatch was relaying that back to me, and it literally sounded exactly like what I was hearing off of these videos. I mean, to the letter. But I don't know I know what they were doing back then. They were building an underground facility in the mountain, basically. Another secret government facility. So, because I heard all the military personnel and saw everything that the Sasquatch was showing me, and and that's exactly what it sounded like. It sounded exactly like that. But can I make the definition that yes, this was what that trumpet sound was? No, I can't, because this is happening all over the world. And yet it sounds like, out of the videos, it literally sounds like it's out of the sky. Whereas this Sasquatch was right there, front and center. He was not even, I would say, 50 feet away from some of these military personnel who were actually doing the digging, the drilling, the cement work, and everything else that they were doing. So personally, and every time I went to look at it psychically back at that time, and then realizing after I saw the videos, because it was around middle to end of 2020, beginning of 2021, that I started seeing the videos on this, and that's when I went, oh my gosh, that sounds exactly like what I heard from the Sasquatch. And what they were experiencing. It was actually hurting their ears. But anytime I asked psychically, I got shut down over it. And I'm like, why am I getting shut down over this? So I don't know what it is. That is what I do know. So
okay.
Long description, but that's what I know.
So
which ain't much.
You want to go through what your notes say and just read them all off?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the 7 angels, and then there's in some places they're heard, and it sounds like beautiful, and then other places it sounds like the roar of a tiger.
okay.
And then, yeah, scientists say it's weather, some say it's earthquakes, and some say it's the Earth's magnetic fields or the aurora borealis. And then there's the guns of Seneca, which is the earliest documentation we have of the sky trumpets in 1850. they called it skyquakes then, and they said it was also the shifting of Earth's tectonic plates or the magnetic fields. Some people hear things that others don't, and it would be 2% of people that they called the hearers, and they studied it in New Mexico, and they couldn't find the whatever.
What?
They couldn't find the cause of what it was. So there's been many studies of it done, but they still have not found the reason of why the sky trumpets happen.
Yeah. So apparently there's a study going on right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, currently there is a study with one of the biggest oil conglomerates in the world is doing a study themselves on whether they're the ones who are causing it.
Oh.
Because a lot of scientists believe it is caused by fracking. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Okay. Kim, do you know what that means?
No.
Okay, so fracking is when we drill down into the earth and then fill it with either cement, air,
I
or
know
water,
what that
and then
means.
expand it.
Yeah, I do.
And we cause fractures within the earth. Well, the thing is, think of earth as a type of organ instrument. Meaning there's already holes in that bottom area that lead through tunnels all across the earth. So if you are fracturing and adding air into those holes, that air has to go somewhere. Meaning you could be fracturing in North America, causing sky trumpets in Russia.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of a wild thing to think of, but at the same time, it is a pretty good explanation for it. So they are currently they're fracking different areas trying to figure out if it is them.
Well, she said the first one was like 1850, so we didn't do that back then.
No, but if you account for volcanic releases, it might not just be us, but a lot of it would be accounted for fracturing, and because volcanic releases would do the same thing.
Oh, okay.
That's pushing air through different areas.
There's also this one theory. It's like the best theory, honestly. It's so funny. So there's this fish, and it's the male gender in particular, but it's the midshipman fish, and they produce a really, really loud mating call that sounds exactly like the sky trumpets, and they can do it for like hours. And people that lived like by the ocean, they were like complaining about this noise, and they're like, oh yeah, that's just the fish. So they're like obviously in awe or shock or whatever, and they're like, there's a thunder sound and it's just the fish. But yeah, and they like wiggle around when they do it too. There's like videos of them doing it, and they like dig themselves in the sand, and their mouth is like wide open, and they look like a little guppy, and they're like a pancake. They're really flat, but it's basically just like this carpet thing sweeping back and forth with its mouth wide open, like ah.
That's pretty wild.
It's so funny.
Friend,
It is wild.
we do have some weird fish out in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I thought the cookie color was weird.
Friend, and I know it's a weird topic to be like discussing there, but the mating habits of fish are wild. Like,
Yeah. birds too.
Yeah.
What about?
What?
I don't
Okay,
want to
so-
learn about that today.
No.
Not today.
Friend.
I had a thought.
Okay.
If it's not fracking, what about under Earth? And I'm not talking about fracking. I'm talking about inner Earth. Whole
like
different subject.
The inner and outer core, like the mantle.
I don't know if that's a subject that parents are going to want it, but it has to do with inner Earth cities.
Yeah, that's the
So like
inner Earth.
journey to the center type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the center is the core, the inner core or the outer core.
What?
Well, but Emma, there are discussions and theories that there are actual cities down there of filled with our past civilizations.
Yeah,
Or
they're
future
just burning
civilizations, depending
in
on how you look at
fire.
it.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, it'd be very hot, but you also got to remember there are creatures that live in lava.
Lava?
True.
Yeah,
What?
we recently found little animals that live inside lava.
What are
Yep.
they called?
Heck.
I can't remember what their name is, but like if
Buggy
they-
1 and Buggy 2.
Yeah, if they leave the lava,
You die?
they die,
They die.
of hypothermia because it's too cold for them in normal conditions.
Yep.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Like that is the only the only way they can survive is to be inside that heat.
Well, not only that, there are certain sharks they found that are that live near the openings to fractures in under the sea where you've got lava spewing up out of the sand in the ocean, and that's their perimeter because there's something about the heat. There's something they obtain from it, and I can't remember if it was Scientific America or where the heck it was one of the major science magazines that was online, and I went, wait a minute, what? I read that last year. I was like, wait a minute, that's bizarre. I've never heard. It blew me, no pun intended. It blew me out of the water.
I'll have to look into that because
It's fascinating.
I want to go into sharkology. So I've never even heard of that. So I'll have to look into that.
Please
The only
do.
Sharks I like are lemon sharks.
You've got to speak louder.
Bruh. The only sharks I like are lemon sharks.
Lemon sharks?
That's my favorite shark.
They're not mean like the others.
Great whites aren't mean.
Ah!
No, they're not. They just want a hug.
I'm holding
I'm
my
killing
lemon
it if it
shark
wants a
right
hug.
now.
Yeah, great whites just want hugs. Friend,
God.
they're all going to classes.
I'd rather
Fish are
not.
friends, not food. Friend,
Why do they eat them?
they don't.
The
they
zebra
do.
sharks.
Yeah, they do.
Zebra sharks, they love and divers, like especially in aquariums, they are like cleaning the tank or whatever, and the zebra shark will come up to them and like circle around them for pets. And the diver, there's this famous video of the diver like scratching the zebra shark's stomach, and he's like, oh
yeah.
yes.
I've got a cousin who is a professional dive instructor, and she posts quite a few, and she goes all over the world. She posts quite a few beautiful images, underwater images, and it's fascinating, the stuff that she's learning. It's incredible. I love watching her feed, her Facebook feed.
Did you guys see that they just found the world's oldest great white?
Yes.
I think I heard that, yeah.
like
How old
40 or
was it?
60 feet long, and it's huge.
And
What?
It looks like a zombie. Like, I am
Oh.
not kidding. When you imagine a zombie shark, that is exactly what this thing looks like.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Right.
I do
Seen
have to
the
agree with
Greenland
that.
shark?
Wait, what?
Look
great
up the
white
Greenland shark right now
Oh,
and
the-
tell me that thing does
What type-
not look like a
what type of
zombie.
The green what?
The Greenland.
Greenland shark. Yeah, she's right.
That thing can live to 400
huge.
years old.
Yep.
It lives in the Arctic.
Mm.
Dad, what
Yep.
kind of shark
It's
was it?
famous
right.
for having parasites in
Oh,
its
the one you
eyes.
remember.
You'll see it.
Oh,
It's like
yes.
basically blind.
Ew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that. That was disgusting. Yeah.
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 It's
Cute.
not.
It's
It's not.
classified as the
Did you
biggest
just say
shark.
it's cute?
Yeah, that's like
Dad.
Grandpa Shark.
Dad,
Fran. I
It's
just
classified as the biggest shark on the planet.
No,
It's
that's
as
the
big
whale.
as it's
That's
as
the
big
whale.
as the. It's the whale. Okay,
That's the whale shark.
I always
It's
get the confusion.
46 feet long, and then the second one is
That's
the
huge.
basking shark, which is
Yep.
41 feet long, and
Yep.
then I think that one's around there.
Oh my god. Yeah, Emma's writing a book on sharks.
The lemon
Awesome.
shark, Kim.
I love lemon sharks.
Awesome! I love hearing that. That's fantastic.
I think it's right there, actually.
Yeah, I think it is. Okay, do you have another subject, or do you want to go over the other, like incidences of time?
Oh, that's the other one that I wanted to talk about was this shocking, like, time traveling type thing. And it's I don't know what to call it. I just call it the Mike Markham theory.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have heard of this. I never heard of it before.
Nikki looks like she's heard of it.
Mhm. I didn't know the guy's name, but if it's what I'm thinking, if I need to hear more about it before I say a full yes, that I recognize it. But yeah, please go on.
Okay. He lived in Stan Mariah, Missouri, and he like worked out of his garage. So he made like this whole workshop in his garage, and he just got out of college with 2 degrees in electrical engineering. And he wanted to make things that have never been made before. So he started with his first project, the Jacob's Ladder, which is like this, put 2 fingers up and it's basically that, and then there's a little line going in between it that is sending like voltage or shock waves up. But he, wanted to make that, and his house only had 120 volts. So he used wire hangers and wrapped them around 2 like magnets, and it doubled it to 20,000 volts. And he went to unplug the machine because he was done. And then there was a sphere of distorted air above the machine. And he kind of just stared at it like, what is going on? Because there's nothing else to do in that situation. And out of like curiosity, I guess, he just picked something up and threw it in it. And it disappeared and flew out a few feet away from it. He knew he was on to something, so he wanted to make it bigger. He then knew there was industrial grade transformers, which is like what the government uses to make electrical lines, and they were just sitting on the side of the road, and he basically just took them and used them for his machine. He made the machine 4 feet long, and then he turned it on, and off went his power. Off went the whole city's power. And I lost my place. Yeah, he looked out the window, and it turned out that he made the whole town's power go out. And it was 130 people. Well, no, 1,300 people's houses that went out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which ties into the next thing, which is him getting arrested. But before that, his friends came over, and he was like, guys, look at this machine thing I made that I don't even know what it is yet, but it disappears, it like makes stuff disappear, and then it comes back like 5 feet away. And they're like, oh, that's cool, we should test something bigger since you made it bigger. And he's like, my couch. And they're like, okay. And they push the couch into the vortex, but his cat was on it.
Oh.
Is the cat okay?
Mm.
No one knows.
Okay.
No one knows if it's even real or not. So at the very end, it's like, it's still honestly so confusing to me. But, dang it, wrong paper. Yeah, wrong paper. Me forget.
Well, go back to where you were.
No, I got it. I can do it. Oh yeah, so some people are like, some people say that the cat thing never happened. And then some people say that in like the very, it's like almost the end of the story, but basically the middle at the same time. That one of the theories is also not true, because Mike is still on this planet. He's still living, and he's still like here today. He's like 20. I think he's 24.
How old
Because
was
he was
when
20.
he made it?
He was 21 when he made it.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was like just out of college or whatever. Yeah, so they pushed the couch in, and their friends were like, oh, where's your cat? And they're like calling him, and the cat never came. And Mike was like, oh yeah, the kitty was on the couch. Whoopsies. But yeah. There was pounding on the door a few minutes later, and there was 8 deputies on the other side, and an officer that said the neighbors reported weird activity. They found out the plan from the missing parts of the government stuff, and they sent him to jail for stealing for 60 days, and they gave him a 5-year probation. In jail, he tried to come up with how to make the machine better, but he lost his job, and he lost his house, and he lost everything. It ended up making the news, and everyone was talking about it. 5 years later, when he got out, this engineer named Art Bell got in touch with him, and he was trying to help him come up with a new machine topic. And they were also helping him get money and a place to live. And they worked together to come up with theories for a time machine, and people helps them with property and the Transformers, which was the thing that he stole from the government. So people on Art Bell's radio show were like donating a bunch of money, and they ended up giving him a warehouse that he builds the next time machine in, and they gave him Transformers that were even better than the government's Transformers that he had stolen. He used the magnetic field to make a plasma tornado, which is 40,000 volts. So it's very, very high voltage in magnetic spinning cylinders that Einstein had first came up with. Einstein actually proved that using high voltage and magnetic spinning cylinders, that time travel was possible. Mike put things in when he made the distorted portal thing again. And he was throwing like small things in at first. He was throwing like wood, and then he was throwing like plastic water bottles, and they kept reappearing 2 minutes later, 50 to 150 yards away. It was either east or it was west of the machine. It was never north and it was never south. He thought this was weird, so he did a bunch of research on it.
Okay, that's it.
Cool.
Oh, no, Cole was going to talk.
No, I wasn't. I just
okay.
thought that was interesting that it was only east or west. That's cool.
Yeah. He thought it had something to do with the magnetic fields, which it did. Then he started sending animals through, but he had tested it 200 times before putting the animals through, because he was big on that too. And they ended up like passing the test or whatever, and they were coming back. So there was one last thing to do. Him to try it himself. He disappeared for 2 years. They looked for him. There was 15 people who were there at the warehouse. The people that were donating the stuff to him, they could come to the warehouse and see him using their stuff and building this time machine. So there was a bunch of people on site, and there was Art Bell on site too. They were all looking for him for like hours, and they couldn't find him. So they just, I guess, gave up and assumed he was gone. He woke up in a field with no memory. He was in Fairfield, Ohio.
That is 45 minutes away.
I know. He went walking and came across a sign that said it was Fairfield, Ohio. This was 800 miles east from where he lived. He went to the nearest homeless shelter for food because he didn't know what to do, because he was just he woke up in a field. Like, what are you gonna do? Get eaten alive by bugs in a cornfield? Yeah, he went to the nearest homeless shelter, and there was a newspaper, and he saw that he was 2 years in the future. He got enough money eventually after taking weird jobs, and he went to his old house in his hometown, Missouri. Everything was gone when he went to the warehouse. He wanted to make everything again, and he remembered 90 to 95% of how to make it. But it was over $100,000, and he had just spent his money to go home. He found Art Bell a few years later and caught him up on what had happened, and they made a GoFundMe because people wanted to help still. And they were all stuck on Mike's, story. And they were all like so interested. They're like, give me more. So they all sent him money again. So he made it again, and he realized that nothing metal would go in. It could go in, but it was unpredictable on what would happen. Something could blow up, or something could break down, something could come back out. He ended up building this tube made out of metal after doing a bunch of tests on a bunch of tests, manipulating certain metals to bend in a certain way to make the machine like contradict itself, I guess. And he brought money, he put his cell phone in, he put his notes, and he put his photos, so that when he woke up, he would end up remembering stuff again. Because the first time, he did not remember anything. And he didn't have any photos or his notes to recall anything either. So he ended up waiting like 5 days for all of his memory to come back. And he didn't want that to happen again. So he put all of his stuff in the metal tube, and he got in and sent it through the machine, and he was gone again. And that was the last time that anyone heard from him. Which is weird because he's still alive today. So that's why, like, the end is, I don't know, it still confuses me, honestly. Art Bell always tried to keep in touch with him, and during a radio show, he took a disturbing call. The caller found a newspaper article from 1930. The article described a man with a small rectangular device that no one could explain. He had drowned because he was in the metal tube, and he was in a dried up ocean type thing. And he was found in a strange metal drum. No one could explain it, and they didn't know who he was, so they named him John Doe. But some people thought different. Some people thought it was Mike. I always call him Mark. It's because it's Markham. Mike Markham. It's his last name. I can call him Mark for short. But yeah, some people thought it was Mark. And here's the contradicting part. Some people say that the cat thing wasn't true, and that he never died. And there's more with Tesla, Nikola Tesla. He thought he could see through time when he was doing his electrical stuff. And Einstein, as I said earlier, proved that time travel was possible. And scientists said that Mike, if it was fully possible, he was very, very close to coming to how it would be made successful. But yes, Mike is still alive, and he's making things even more insane. And scientists are still saying that he's onto something. And if Mike had something with gravity, he could scientifically succeed, because he forgot to put gravity into it as well. And the low gravity and the high voltage and the magnetic waves would all work together and kind of dysfunction in a way. And that's what makes the shock of going into the future. He was asked by Art Bell about moving through time, because yes, he's moving through time, but what about space? He answers this, and he's moving through both. He somehow figured out a way to manipulate both time and space into stopping for, I guess, a minute or so, and revolting into 2 years in the future. And they're not sure if he went into the future when he went into the metal tube, because they found a newspaper article in 1930, and this was not too long ago. It was in it's in the 2000s. I think it was like 2010 or something. So it's not too long ago. But they're not sure if he fully did make a time machine into the future, or it's a time machine into the past and the future. Because he tested it the one time and it was future, and he tested it the other time and it was past. But they're not sure if it actually was the past or not, because he's still alive today. He wasn't stuck in the tube with his skeleton still, because he's still alive. So that's why the story really confuses me. But yeah, Mike was 21 when he made this, and he's 24 today.
Huh.
Okay.
The whole thing kind of confuses me, because I have always been told that we cannot travel into our future. We can only travel into our past. And I think it'd be really cool if we could travel into the future and come back.
Yeah. Today in our camp, we were, there was this little girl who, she was like saying, I don't know how to explain it. She was saying some stuff wasn't true or something, that like she wasn't as equal as the 40-year-old or whatever. And the teacher was like, yeah, I'm older than you, but we're equal people. And I'm older than you, but that doesn't mean I have more knowledge. I may have more knowledge in a certain subject, but you may have more knowledge in a certain subject. And she was saying that there was certain things that were possible and that weren't possible. And she named time travel as one of the things that weren't possible. So, coming to this a few hours later, I was like, I could be like, actually, Einstein proved that it was possible.
Well, so that's the thing. Like, almost everything in the world is possible. Almost everything
Yeah.
outside of the world is possible.
Mhm.
And it just sometimes it won't always happen as you think of it. Sometimes, like, friend, we found out that time travel is very possible. In a sense that the farther you distance yourself from Earth, you actually do travel through time in a different space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they put two cousins into space, or two brothers into space, two identical twins. No, sorry, they put one identical twin into space. His brother stayed on Earth. When his brother from space came back, they found out he was 5 minutes older. After being at the International Space Station for 6 months, he was 5 minutes older than his brother.
How did they figure out he was older?
Huh?
Yeah.
How did they figure out he was older?
Because his metaphysical body, like his biological body, was 5 minutes older. It advanced 5 minutes because the farther you get away from the Earth's core and its magnetic field, the faster time travels.
Yeah.
Could have stayed out there for
I think
years.
Tim's kind of saying, like, because how I'm interpreting it is, how do they know he's 5 minutes
Yeah,
older?
that's my question. How did they know he's 5 minutes older? How did they,
Like,
test it?
Because of the
Yeah.
changes in blood cells and skin cells and everything.
Okay.
They test everything when you do a mission like that.
I thought it was like he was blinking like 1 times faster or something, or slower.
No,
Or like he looked different in
the
some
tests
way.
that they do on
That's
you
what I didn't get.
That's
are
what I was
so
thinking first.
like insanely minute. Like
Yeah.
they're just they look for such little things that the little differences that we normally don't see on us. Friend,
Have two
they were a little bit different on the one brother than the other.
So they're not identical.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah. I thought, like, maybe they interviewed the mom and she was like, oh yeah, actually he's 5 minutes older.
Usually they're only about a minute to 2 older than the other
He traveled
when
in
it comes to identical
time.
twins. But
Mm-hmm.
they're judging, and the way they actually also prove this is when so clocks on the International Space Station run faster than the ones on Earth.
Wait, why?
Oh.
Because time moves faster the farther you are away from the Earth's core.
What the freak?
Yeah, like
How did-
Mars. I think
How
I
did
forget. Mars goes like it's either 9 years in the future or 9 years in the past. I think it's the future though.
I don't think it's years. I think it's like days. But it's the fact that, okay, if you take the example of putting two people, one person at the bottom of the Empire State Building in New York, and one person at the top, and keeping them there for all their lives, by the end of their lives, after about 90 years, the person at the bottom will be 9 seconds on their watch behind the guy at the top. So, like, at that point, it's not that noticeable because it's only 9 seconds in 90 years.
Yeah.
But it is enough that once you go higher and higher and higher and farther away from Earth, you start to notice the difference.
Yeah.
Which also, like, it would lead into thinking why, like, we have alien beings that visit us, and the fact that they travel for millions and billions of miles, and they don't seem to age as much.
Okay.
Or maybe they're secretly like 170 years old.
I believe that.
Since you broached that subject, when I have been on board ET ships, true ET ships, not government, military ET combined ships. When I've been on a true ET ship, the time difference is incredible. And when you go across the galaxy, it's very different.
Nikki's actually
very
450 years old.
Oh, I am not.
Well, probably.
But I can tell you, I have traveled on board those ships. And you're talking hours, depending upon how fast they will travel. If they're at a normal pace, do not ask me what that is. I cannot tell you. I do not have that scientific kind of mind for it. But if they travel at a normal rate of speed, they can get somewhere within 4 hours. Whereas if they're in a separate galaxy from us, then it could take an all-day trip. Or depending upon, like I said, it depends on how fast they travel. If it's an emergency, they can be knocking on Earth's door, let's put it that way, within a very short amount of time, less than a day. And it's incredible. It's truly incredible. So time is different on board the ships. I can attest to that. And when Robert, who hopefully will be able to make it to the show tonight,
yeah,
because I know he left a message in the chat, private chat for the group. When he took me in Astral, and we went through 7 portals that I eventually found out were vortexes, we traveled through 7 galaxies to get to one of my hybrid children who was on a different planet. And the difference with the distance, it would take them days. Not a lot of days, but a number of days to get from that planet that they were on to Earth. So there is a significant time difference when you get closer to Earth and when you get off board ship. So there's also an incredible difference on the body, on the physical body. There's a pressure difference because on board a true ET ship, you're not just dealing with time as a factor, you're also dealing with pressurization, which is a totally different subject, but it all falls within the time category too, as well. And how our physical bodies as an ET abductee, I would love to be tested appropriately. I make that statement publicly because it needs to be appropriately done, because there are very nefarious, very not so nice people in government who would take that and probably try to do some, just because I made a statement like that. So I'm very careful.
Manipulate it and gaslight it. Yeah.
Well, it's more than just gaslighting, but yeah, it can get very dangerous very quickly. So I need to be sure that I state very clearly in an appropriate manner.
Yeah.
Because I would love to have some kind of testing to show how many times I've been off planet. I know it's been all my life, off and on all my life. And what is the time difference on our human body? I mean, realistically, as somebody who has experienced it, I would like to know.
Oh, wait, I just came up with an idea. Since we're doing conspiracy theories or whatever, what if someone could be reincarnated into an ET, or like if someone was an ET but they got reincarnated into a human?
It can happen. I know people. I've got one of my closest friends is somebody who remembers her lifetime on, and I'm not going to name the planet because it'll end up outing the individual, but she remembers a number of lifetimes on one specific planet that is no more. The planet was completely and utterly destroyed, and she's had a number of lifetimes on Earth, and she's not happy about it. She would rather be where it's all love and light, and I understand that. I can totally relate to that. So, and crystal cities and things were very, very different. So yeah, it's fascinating, but yeah, that can happen. When you cross over, yeah, that you can have a choice of where you want to be as a soul. Quite the interesting subject.
Yeah. The only planet I can think of that was destroyed that we know of was in the making of the moon. The Earth crashed into a planet that was as big as Mars, and they crashed in I forget what it's called, the driftings, or the other pieces of rock that was broken off from the collage was taken into its own magnetic pole, and it made the moon. So maybe that planet that was the planet that was as big as Mars that crushed into Earth that got destroyed, maybe that was that planet.
I would like to say yes to that, but that's not how it was destroyed. Another race of ET deliberately took it out, unfortunately. And that can happen when there's lots of wars and fighting amongst different groups of ET. And they were a peaceful, loving, very peaceful, very loving. I've heard this from a lot of other people who remember the planet, and there was an unexpected war, and the population was wiped out, and then eventually the planet was annihilated. It was completely destroyed. And only those that actually remember it actually talk about it. And the ones that I know are valid are the ones that talk about very specific things that my friend talks about. And I know it's valid because I've heard from the other side that it's valid. So it would be easier for me to think that it was taken out the way that you talked about, rather than an act of war. It's really appalling what some think of as their property, and it's not. So and that happens on Earth. We have a prime example of it going on all over this globe right now. So I would much rather think of it as something that you had talked about. So but it's just not the case, unfortunately. So,
well, maybe it could be either or. I mean, no one really knows.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, the ones that do know are the ET, the different various ET that do remember it. Yeah. So.
And from what we know of our natural sciences and what we've brought back from the moon, the rocks that created the actual moon, none of them contained any sort of life ever. That was just the beginning of actual, like, what we consider the Great Bombardment.
Yeah.
So it wasn't... a few scientists in the beginning classified it as a planet that hit the Earth, but it really wasn't.
Yeah, it was an asteroid. It was an asteroid that was as big as Mars.
Yes. So, but in order for, like, there are lots of things that something has to have in order to classify it as a planet. As we found out, Pluto didn't make it.
Yeah, Pluto. Dwarf planet, I minimize you.
But...
Yeah.
You're not good enough.
they are thinking that the one that hit Venus could have had actual life on it.
Hmm.
So if you know anything about that part, like where Venus actually got hit so hard that it is the only planet to spin the opposite direction of all the others.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And it's the only reason Earth actually exists.
Yeah,
Because
Venus
it's coming
is
to us.
actually a lot like Earth.
Yes.
Venus, I think, yeah, that would be the most likely planet to have life on it because it basically is Earth, but it's just raining all the time.
Well, but you also got to think of it this way. Not all life would require the same things that we have here. Like that we require. So there could be
Yeah,
creatures
because you have to
and
adapt, yeah.
different species that are able to live on Jupiter and Saturn, those gaseous planets, whereas we can never survive on those.
Mm-hmm.
Friend, one day in the future we might have the equipment to allow us to survive on them, but I don't see it happening for a long freaking time.
Well, we could technically not... We wouldn't survive on it, but if we put ourselves there, you adapt over time. So there are things in the future that they adapt to the environment. That's why, like, horses, they didn't start as horses. They started as, like, little cats. I think they were like lynxes. And they developed over time into horses. So every, like, million years or something, the environment changed and their bodies changed to adapt to the environment. So we technically could live there, but it wouldn't be our bodies. It would be our bodies just developed in a different way.
Yeah. Friend, well, kind of. In order to adapt, you have to be able to survive the first couple hundred years. That's our issue, is we can't survive the pressure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
like, did you know that anytime we shoot off satellite or probe towards any of the planets, that any time that the probe is about to lose power or something's about to go wrong, we shoot it into the planet as hard as we can.
Oh, really?
And the reason being is because if we shoot it hard enough, the belief is that any bacteria that was left on the device accidentally will be killed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
Because if we actually, we had a problem where one of the Titan probes, we believed that it was contaminated when we sent it up. And they thought that it actually started multiplying near Titan.
Well, and the other thing that, remember in the, what is it called? The, all of a sudden I went blank. But, yeah, the space station.
Yeah.
That, with the bacteria and the mold or something.
Yeah, there was bacteria growing on the outside. And that's the thing.
Well, I think, and then it got inside, right?
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Friend, but the problem is, if there is life on any of those planets or any of those moons like Titan, already, if we introduce a bacteria to it, we could kill everything on that planet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Because humans themselves are an invasive species. Ergo,
Yeah.
so is anything
And
that
you
we
don't
create.
know.
Also, the bacteria just spreads faster there because of some kind of, like, is it oxygen or something, like lack of oxygen or something like that?
Friend, Titan, I believe, is mercury. The amount of mercury, because they have mercury lakes on Titan.
So it's like 10.8 something.
Friend, like, if a human went there, they'd melt. Just immediately. Bones and all. There'd be nothing left. But, a bacteria that we accidentally had on the outside of a probe, friend, it started growing and multiplying in an alarming rate. So they shot it at Titan as hard as they could, causing the entire thing to burn up before it hit the actual planet.
Mm-hmm.
Or the moon.
Mm.
So,
I guess that makes more sense.
as
Yeah.
humans, we are actually pretty careful about what we do with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because you don't know if it's gonna affect the planet negatively or positively.
That's right. So we try and do everything we can to make sure we do not disturb something like that. And over the years, we have developed different names for it. My favorite is still from the original Star Trek, and it's called the Prime Directive. If a planet isn't ready to interact with you, you don't interact with it in a negative way. You don't introduce it to things that could hurt it, or could even could make it better, because it's not their time yet.
Mm.
So, friend, we just have to be as careful as we continue going on, because we're getting to the point where we are going to start doing a lot more space travel, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Friend. Nikki, what do you think? Do you think humans as a whole are doing pretty good at that?
Clarify that. Pretty good at.
At not interfering with other planets and trying not to endanger any other life.
Do you really want me to?
Yes.
Do you really want me to answer that with the kids on the call?
Well,
I've heard
I was
worse.
thinking too that we should
I will-
actually ask Kimberly to talk. Poor thing.
Because that answer, with what I know and the kids do not know, a lot about me and the things that I know, and that's going to be a subject for moms and dads to end up dealing with. So, in short answer, no, I do not.
Okay.
No, I do not think that humans, based on what I know and the many people that I know who have also told me information from their own personal experiences, no, we are not. There are things that I know that would horrify a lot of people. So, short answer, no.
Politically, I think no. So,
Okay.
but I mean, I think that there's a lot of rise of things that are going to happen, but probably not now because of what's going on.
Yeah.
I want to rephrase the question then. Based off human nature, do you think we've done an okay job? Like, based on on our past, do you think we've done a better job of not interfering with outer species than we have Earth ones?
I mean,
No, we suck at both.
I think we've made it this far.
Absolutely not.
I'm not sure how to answer that one. Like, I mean, if you're talking about, like, safety in terms of other planets and stuff like that, like you were, then, yeah, I think that they take the precautions that they know necessary. If they don't know it, then they try to, they care about it. Like I said, with the space station thing, I think so, in terms of that manner, because I watched that, like, NASA Files or something, I think it's called.
Yep.
It's been a while. It seems like that is, precautions like that, they're really overly trying to, like, investigate that kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of investigation about things right away. But, who really knows unless you're, working there, and that's part of your job. That's what I'll say. A lot of stuff gets covered up, as I know. Just generally, everybody I think knows who's educated in news and articles and documentaries, things, history. I don't want to say any more. I might be shot. So.
Politically.
No.
We have not done. Do I say this with humans are very naive, even the government. We completely suck when it comes to, yes, we completely suck. Not ignorant and arrogant.
Yes.
Okay, because we believe we know it all, when in point of fact we absolutely do not, including the scientists.
Certain people.
So you're dealing with some very serious subjects with those questions, Cole. And with what I know from my own personal experiences, as not only an ET abductee, but also somebody who has had to be forced into as a participant in certain government things. No, we're too arrogant. We think we know, humans think we know it all, including the sciences, including government. And do they try to do some of their best regarding other planets? To some degree, they will. Okay, honest answer, to some degree, they will try. However, they go in and they steal minerals. They go in and they do things that the public would be absolutely horrified about. So, are we really conscientious about things? No.
I don't think we'd
It's
be
all
horrified.
about what we can gain. It's all about what we can gain, control, and manipulate.
But I don't think the public would be that horrified, Nikki, because we've been spoon-fed.
Yeah.
The idea,
look at but look at the population who have been you're dealing with what happened with the C word with the dash and the number 19 after it. It wasn't until after that people started waking up as to what was really taking place. And now we're at a different...
Really know.
That's my point.
I think
that's
the
my
WoW
point.
signal kind of started that.
That's my point. There's a lot of people who are still in... It's a form of self-denial because they're still believing hook, line, and sinker the government's narrative. So, because there's so many people still buying into the BS of government narrative, it is going to be a shock and a surprise, in my opinion, based on what I've been observing. So
I'm gonna say I don't think it's the fact that they're buying into the government narrative. I think it's the fact that the belief, the general knowledge is the fact that the government is evil. We know this, but we can't change it. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, we are being spoon-fed the idea that taking minerals from other planets, well, the government's doing that. We can't do anything about it. It's not our problem. And it's not a problem we can fix. Because you look at Avatar.
yeah, because it's the gigantic conglomerates that are doing it.
Yeah.
It's the gigantic conglomerates in specific forms of... Okay, so you've got aerospace. You've got the typical aerospace. All fine, all hunky-dory. Many people work for them. All great. Not an issue. It's the covert. It's the really deep covert sections of those aerospace industries. And I'm not going to name names because that'll get me into some... I'm already targeted. Thank you very much. I don't need that kind of targeting on me. So, or being unalived. So the point is that it's the very deep forms of how deep is their tags, their ID tags, when they go into the building and all of that. How deep do they go underground? How deep is the control? There's so much to it.
Yeah.
But it's the very far levels of that. And not all aerospace is bad. It truly isn't. There are some that is absolutely great. I used to know a lot of people that work for aerospace industry. It's big whoop, but it's the very deep covert stuff that you've got to be very careful with. Very, very careful with. Because that's when things get the word is nefarious. So it gets very wicked.
Brian,
Well, should we let poor Kimberly talk?
Yes.
I would love to, but
Yes,
she went to the
please.
bathroom.
Oh, okay. So
Because
hit another subject. Hit a brief subject.
Brian,
yeah,
well, Prick, I'm still kind of stuck on this whole thing, but, like, 'cause there are a lot of the space subjects that I am very, how do I put that? I'm not just interested in them. That's the wrong word. How the hell do I?
Well versed.
No, not even well versed. It's like almost intimately attached to. Like,
Yeah.
I love the idea that we are exploring farther than our own Earth. I love the idea, but at the same time, I see the dangers of it, and they are all dangers that we cause. Friend, I'm not gonna lie, friend, but there's a fine line, and we just have to try and not cross it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, here's a subject. Has anybody thought about underground cities on any of the planets?
No.
That's something to research and look into.
Well, I've thought about Mars, obviously. To be fair, if my country, or if my, hi Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Friend.
Hey.
If my planet looked like Mars did, I'd go underground too. Like, just saying. Friend, there's a lot of dangerous shit on that planet. Friend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the dust can cut you. That's not even fair. Friend. So, Kim.
So,
You're back now?
yeah.
Friend, tell us about the Stanley Hotel.
Okay. So, the Stanley Hotel served as the, inspirational for the Overlook Hotel in Stephen King's novel, The Shining.
Okay.
And its film apparition. Yeah.
I'm your father. I should know this. Have you seen The Shining?
No, not yet.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll watch it soon.
Maybe.
I will.
That's a pretty heavy movie.
Okay. I've seen Lord
It'll
of the
be
Rings.
fine.
Did you just say you've seen Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Wrong kind of heavy, Kim.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen all the Conjurings.
Yeah, this one's a little more psychological.
Seen the Conjurings.
Friend.
Yay.
I'm actually pretty upset. Kim's the only one in our family who has seen the newest Final Destination.
Yep.
Friend. So,
Actually, no. Grandma. And Grandpa.
immediate family.
Oh.
Friend.
Grandma and Grandpa.
And out of horror movies, that is the only one I like. Really.
It's really good.
Friend.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Friend.
It is.
So, the Stanley
You
Hotel
have to take your word.
has
There's a special room about it. In the 1920s, a gas leak led to an explosion in room 217 that destroyed the second floor above the main dining hall and nearly killed a lot of people. Yeah. I can't read my own handwriting sometimes. I think that said chamber.
My friends are like that.
Chamber pot.
Chambermaid.
Oh, chambermaid.
A maid.
Yes, chambermaid.
Elizabeth Wilson.
It almost killed her?
Yes, but she survived.
Okay.
Poor
Has there been
girl.
any paranormal sightings at the Stanley Hotel?
A lot. Sam and
A lot?
Colby one explored that.
Did they?
Yeah. That's where I got it from.
What'd they find?
Obviously, nothing that could be repeated.
Right?
No. So they went to the hotel,
Search.
spent a night. They got the room 217, and they just saw lots of lights flickering and doors shutting and stuff.
You know,
And they,
if I was
Well,
going
ghost
to
hunters
make,
were there.
if I was going to make a psychological thriller movie, I would not use a haunted hotel.
it wasn't haunted at first. It was, well, actually, yes, it was.
By the
'cause-
time they made the film, it would have been.
Yes, because in the 1920s, that explosion happened, and that's how that's how it got haunted by all the people that died there, and then they rebuilt the second floor and the dining hall and stuff.
So
Well-
wait a minute, how I missed it. How did it explode?
There was a gas leak.
A gas leak.
Oh,
So there was a.
It's the 1920s, so I would imagine that the lights on the outer sides of the rooms, on the walls, were gaslit.
Yeah, so a gas
okay.
a gas leak led to an explosion in room 217, which is the most haunted room in that hotel.
Okay, so how many people died?
You don't know?
No, I do not know exactly how many people died.
Google is your friend.
Robert will find out.
Working on it.
Google Gemini, please.
So apparently, the chambermaid, they believe her spirit haunts the room. She survived, but she had broken ankles.
Oh God.
That's lovely.
Yeah, that would
God,
suck
that's
as a maid.
Gosh.
How'd she walk? Did she have to do handstands everywhere?
Probably
She-
expected to report to work the next day.
She died in 1951.
Other
She
notable
made
deaths.
30 years.
Other notable deaths in the hotel. A homeless girl reportedly lived in the basement of the concert hall and froze to death after being kicked out, according to some accounts. A French cook is said to have died in the hotel's tunnels when part of the tunnel collapsed on him.
Oh, God.
The Stanley Hotel has seen other deaths, but they are not as well known or connected to specific ghost stories as the Wilson incident and the homeless girl. So those are the two spirits that they believe
Okay, wait,
haunt the place, as well as Flora and F.O. Stanley, the hotel's founders.
Okay, Freeland
What I've
Stanley
found,
took it upon himself to install a gas lantern in each room to provide the guests with light, and a leak caused a buildup gas to form in the room 217. The head chambermaid, Elizabeth Wilson, entered the room with a lit candle and set off the massive explosion.
Oh.
So I've got a question. Meg, are you getting the number 30 or Robert? I keep getting the number 30 of deaths regarding that property. Not the hotel itself, but that property.
Makes sense to me.
How do we go
well, the
from
Stanley Hotel
finances
is
to
known for its
haunted
gas
hotel?
hotels. The number of deaths that actually occurred within the hotel is relatively low, comparable to other hotels of similar size. While some stories claim a high death toll, there is no evidence to support this. One
Really?
notable incident was a gas leak explosion in room 217 in the 1920s, but no fatalities resulted. That's what Google says.
Interesting.
According to the Colorado Springs Gazette, that was, so yeah.
You know, though, ghost hunters,
Interesting.
they went there, and that place was crazy off the wall, especially the hallways.
Well, okay,
Well,
so
it's
there's
because
other.
they had an Indian burial ground underneath it.
Well, supposedly, and it also is supposedly a vortex. Because it has magnetic quartz in the soil.
Oh,
Oh, that'll do it.
yeah. I
so
was
like
oh, then
any
you're screwed.
paranormal equipment you take in
There's
there
probably like
isn't going
50
to work.
mirrors too.
Like it, and that's a very good possibility with the amount of like every hotel has an insane amount of mirrors and they always face each other and
Yeah,
Portals.
that's what I was thinking.
Depends. I'm really like not big on the home. I'm not a person who believes in every single mirror like that.
No, but if you've got mirrors facing each other and they're old, original to that
Oh
property,
yeah, especially if they're
that could be a
old.
problem.
That could be with the
But it depends on the age and
The silver
what all
backing.
was the silver backing and the frames.
Mm.
Because it's not just the mirror itself, it's the frames. The frames can bring things in.
No, it's any
Oh, joy.
reflective surfaces.
Yeah, it can be,
Well,
yeah.
and people like I think it's about intention too. So
Yes.
intention is
Exactly.
everything. I think honestly, that's when you have problems.
friend,
Someone thought they were funny.
Hmm?
Putting like mirrors across from each other. They're like,
wow,
Yeah.
this
but
will
yeah,
be the most amazing thing ever, Jim.
it's
Yeah,
but you think about
Martha,
it,
this will be great.
it's been
Stanley will
done
be
for
so
years.
happy.
We've had have any of you ever gone through a mirror maze?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Friend, I love those. Friend, especially taking little kids. Friend, yeah, Kayla hates them. But, friend,
yeah. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, especially when you run into one.
yeah, the mirror maze never loses.
I love
Someone's
the mirror maze.
always getting a bloody nose.
If I had a chance to push someone into a mirror, I would.
That's kind of real.
Friend,
It's just when
What
they
if
walk through
they
it.
got? What if
that you
the
got problems.
mirror ate them?
Mm.
Good.
Like,
That's what I just said. They walk
good.
through. Mm.
Throw your worst enemy into the mirror, guys.
Yes!
It'll be fun, they said. Especially when they
Mm.
disappear.
Well,
You already
I've got a
picked two,
friend
you
who I've got a friend on the East Coast who had a very haunted mirror with a portal in it. Was in her bedroom. Her pets, her birds, all of her animals would stay away from where it was at. And she's like, "That's it. I'm done. You're out of here." And she shut it down and took the mirror. And it was almost a full wall mirror.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "That's it. It's getting out of here. You're not
Yeah.
going to be portal into my home anymore."
I had to shut one down in a store for a friend. And I've never seen her like that, but she screamed and ran out of her own store and looked at the mirror, and I'm like, well, and then I saw a guy laughing who used to own it and was like, got all protective. Turns out she got it from some kind of thrifting thing or something. So I had to shut it down. But I will say it's rare. I think that people think it's like, every single day in every single mirror. That's why I say no.
Exactly.
It's rare. It's like how demonic stuff is rare, but TV fakes a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've always
Start
been
doing
that
that.
guy. I've always been that guy who sit in the front of a mirror and say Bloody Mary 3 times and then yell out, "Hey, we got chores to do. Let's go."
Yeah, me too.
I want help. What, Nikki? Come on.
I know. I just want to slap him.
That's like
No.
that's
That
like
was
I
funny.
used to
Come on.
meditate.
free workers.
Isn't
With
that
your
what
luck-
children are made for?
With your luck, Cole, you'd say that and a drink would appear.
Right? Or, friend, they'd be just as lazy as my kids. Friend, like she'd be come out just eating a bag of Doritos.
Yeah, where did
Friend,
you get that?
Jeez.
what do you mean we gotta do chores?
I'm a girl Primo. I'm not going to do chores. I'm going to hit city and sulk.
Yeah.
No, but see, that's
never be me.
that's
Sounds like my
teenagers
Sunday.
though.
Sounds like
Lazy
me.
day 'cause it's Sunday. I'm like, no, it's not. Go do your laundry.
Friend,
Sunday is the one day
So
you're
annoying.
supposed to take a break, and Mom just decided to make that chore day.
Emma,
Literally.
when you create the heavens and the earth, you can take Sunday off.
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
Good point.
I would
Thank
be
you.
that person coming out with a bag of chips, but it wouldn't be Doritos, it'd be barbecue Lay's chips. They're better.
Depends what Dorito.
They don't catch fire. They aren't a fire. I was going to say repellent. That's not it, but they, yeah,
Opposite.
they're good. They're a good fire starter.
Yep.
Bring them on a camping trip.
God, think about that.
Just thought about those wow chips.
Chips?
If you're ever going camping, make sure to bring Doritos.
Yeah, have you never heard that? You can use a Dorito to start a fire.
No, I've never heard that. but
Yeah,
doesn't
it will
surprise
stay
me.
lit forever.
It's, yeah. He's right.
Okay,
It's
sometimes
Because
scary.
of what they spray on.
It is scary.
Ooh.
It's because of what they spray on them and how they're made and all of that. But yeah, I mean, and yeah, they're tasty. Don't get me wrong. They're very, very tasty. But when
Wait, Cheetos
something
could do
like
it
that,
again.
Loki
Cheetos
not
are another
eating
one.
that again.
I know, I'm like a little.
I agree.
scared now.
Laser.
Okay, wait.
Lay's
Never mind.
potato
I
Well,
take
chips
that
are
back.
eventually
I'll
eat
still
them
eat
now.
it.
Wait, someone eat a whole bag and then swallow fire, and let's see what happens.
No,
How do you
no.
swallow fire?
Don't give Robert ideas.
Can
That's
you
what I'm
swallow
gonna say.
fire?
Yes.
How?
There's a lot of people that
Don't
do
give
fire
Robert
swallowing.
ideas.
What?
I can't
Ah,
believe you
I've
said
tried
that,
to
man.
act for years.
No, not. No,
Oh God.
you're being serious.
Yeah.
Okay,
Don't
so
wanna
what
see
were-
someone implode.
Oh my god.
What were
Why,
what were some of Kim's other subjects?
Well,
Wait, since
yeah.
Robert.
two
Wait,
of them
wait.
are kind of
Dad,
the same.
Dad. Since Robert's here, can we talk about the Robert the doll?
Yes. The Robert doll.
No.
Just a
What do you have? What
Subject
do you
comes
know
up
about
like
the Robert
on
doll?
every podcast we do now.
So what's
Um,
this Robert doll?
I know if you like look at him, that usually you have. Okay, every time you go up to him and like look at him, you always have to be respectful and nice to like any doll, any haunted doll that you go up to, especially the Robert doll and Annabelle. You have to be like respectful and nice, cause if you don't, like many people have went to go see their Robert doll and have been like very rude, and then a couple days, months, or weeks later, something happened to them that was like very bad, like they had a heart attack or something.
Okay. So Robert the
We
doll
need to.
is a was made by the company Steve Company, a German toy makers around 1904. The original owner was Robert Eugene Otto, also known as Gene, who received the doll as a child. Otto reportedly blamed the doll for his childhood misbehavior and strange occurrences in the house. The doll is now on display at the Fort East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida.
We should go there.
And museum visitors are often warned to ask permission before taking photos of the doll, as disrespect, it is said to bring bad luck. Friend, they say that the doll was cursed by a Bohemian girl or a maid who practiced voodoo. It has caused car accidents, broken bones, job loss, and divorce. Friend,
Lots of other stuff.
yeah, like the doll might not have been the cause of all that. Friend, it might have been the kid too. Friend.
Oh.
Hey, I'm just saying. You blame your dolls for your bad behavior? Come on. Friend.
It's for Sully.
Well,
We should get.
like he have a story of like saying like he hid it in the attic and it kept coming back and it was like a horrible Chucky movie kind of case.
Yeah, like it's
Aren't they
basically
all?
Chucky, but the doll is creepier to me.
Yeah,
Every
no,
doll
Yeah.
is creepy.
I got a
Like, it's
question.
not even the story. It's
Fuck.
just the.
I have a question for you, Dad.
I've had
Do
doll
you know
stories.
if Annabelle is still on world tour? And if she is, do you know where she is?
No,
She's not on
Okay,
world
I
tour.
don't know.
we need to have Chris McKennell come in. I think that's his last name. I can't remember if it's correct or not. But anyway,
The grandson.
the grandson of Ed and Lorraine Warren, because
Ooh.
Yeah.
he knows more about it, and he's been making statements about how his grandmother Lorraine didn't like the doll,
Yeah.
but that the public has been it's been broadened. All these
Yeah.
things about the doll has been significantly broadened, and a lot of it's not real.
Not real.
Not real at all. But that his grandmother, he did publicly state recently, in fact, about, and he is on Facebook. You can look him up. McKinnon, I think is the last name. Anyway, you can look him up, and he's talked very publicly about that doll being on, and he's totally against it, about it being on tour, and
Yeah, he's not willing to come on to any show.
Well, it was never supposed to leave.
not
the case
anymore.
In the first
He
place.
used to.
Yeah, no, since she went on
that's
tour.
where I met him.
Since he.
That's where I met him, was on. I'd only met him once, but I didn't get the opportunity to talk to him. Whereas a very close friend of mine did, and she's still in communication with him periodically now.
Since they started
because of her own
touring,
health.
I sent his publicist email page an email, and it just says to read his statements on his Facebook and his LinkedIn account, and that's it. He is not doing anything else.
You want to hear about a
Yeah,
haunted
which
doll? I
makes
got a
sense.
hell of a story about me and Misty's.
Yep,
Really
we
hell
got
of a
about 10
story.
minutes, so go ahead.
I was on the Jim Harold show about it. But we went to the Blackbird Jail, Misty and we toured like the whole building, and a lot of things happened like in the building the whole time. But we were given a quick tour because this is the second time we got back, like we were there. But we were given a tour really quickly by the tour guide before we started the investigation. It was like a public investigation, but there was probably, I think that there was probably like eight people, maybe to 11 there. And the whole time, basically, Misty did not want to go into this one room because there was a doll that was not there prior. And we had been there maybe like less than a year ago. And went into this room, and we saw the doll sitting there, and we were like, oh no, some idiot brought in a dumb doll. And we were really not happy about it. So the whole time Misty was like, I'm not going to that room. So we go into the room, and I'm like, okay, this is the only room that we have to do, and then we're going to pretty much go. And I put the ball down in front of, like, the doll was, like, sitting on this chair, and then there was a bed in front of it, like the foot of the bed. And put the ball in between and started asking questions. But, you know, like, already with my gifts, I knew that it was bad. And my ball started going, like, crazy, like someone was laying on it. And the motion sensor ball, like, you can't really lay on it and it would light up. So when it's like that, when someone lays on it like that and it's, like, constantly lighting up, it's evil. So I was like, oh, no. So I tried to, like, go around it and pretend, you know, that I wasn't going to give it the attention it wanted. And I was like, you know, just, hey, who's here? Who's here? Is there anybody else who's here? And finally, I asked the question that it wanted me to ask to just get it over with. And I said, are you the doll? Or I think I said, like, yeah, like, are you the doll? And then basically I heard this wicked voice, and I'll try to demonstrate, but I won't do it as well. And I heard in my head, I am the doll. And it was like a blend of a little kid and an old grandma voice.
Huh.
Is the only way I can describe it. And it was really wicked. It's like, I am the doll. And I started walking backwards into Misty, not even knowing that she was like there, running her over. And she started grabbing my arm and like digging into my arm with her nails. And I still did not notice her, that she was there. And then I heard, do you really want to go backwards? The man in the closet is there. And there's a huge closet that was behind me. And when we had been there prior, we got pictures of some kind of, I'm just like saying, it's like I can describe it as like, it looked like kind of like something with horns leaning over the top of the open door. And it was not a whole body. It was like kind of like, you know, shoulders to head with horns, and it had glowing red eyes. So somebody had like done some demonic stuff in that room. But yeah, the doll's voice said that in that eerie voice, like, are you sure you want to go? And it was really awful. That is when I like started realizing too that I like Misty's arms were like, I mean, her nails were like digging into my arm. And I screamed, looked at her, and our joke is when the medium says run, you run. And I was like, I just looked at her and she goes, what did you hear? What did you hear? Oh my God, what did you hear? And I was like, run! And I just ran.
I'll
when you
get
dip.
you, my pretty, and
I
your
was
little
done.
doll, too.
It was pretty
That's
bad.
That's the exact opposite of what I would have done. I would have turned around and confronted it and said, "Bring it on, buddy."
Well, I knew I
like,
still had to
bring it
drive
on.
home too in the dang dark. Like really, it was
That's
a
a
weird
different story.
drive. Yeah, and the drive was like you just
I'm
like
the
your
driver.
cornfield turning. And it was odd, and I'm telling you, we had to go down this spooky road that was probably like 20 minutes long in the
Yeah.
country, where like it was like just corn on both sides. And I'm telling you, I felt like Bigfoot was gonna just leap out in front of me. I'm seriously saying. It's going to
Children
be a
of the
deer
corn.
or Bigfoot.
Children of the corn. Mothman.
Just spooky as shit. And it was like November 1st. So it was really, you know, just total
Jeepers
spook
creepers.
land. Yeah. And I'm like, I am not chancing shit. So yeah,
November
it was
1st
bad.
is the start of Christmas.
Shut up.
What?
Don't talk like that.
What?
Cuss.
So what's the next subject?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was there
Uh,
Kim, did you have questions for either Meg, Robert, or I?
no.
Okay.
You don't have any questions about like psychics, past lives?
No.
ETs?
No.
Do you have
Guys,
any
it's
questions?
happened. My daughter's finally a teenager. Her mind is empty.
Hey.
Good luck.
I don't know.
As Nikki knows,
We've dealt with
I'm in hell.
we've dealt with three of them.
No, you're in heaven. Don't worry. Nope, actually purgatory.
Okay.
No, that's worse.
Yeah, I'm like, excuse me.
That's
Don't do the purgatory thing.
I mean,
I've had a spirit come to me that was talking about being in purgatory, so, you know.
in less than a year, we went
That's not
from
pleasant.
a house of 6 to now we're going to be a house of 4 in a month.
Mhm.
Wow.
Right? Fran,
Wow.
And did he go?
not yet.
That's a big change.
Okay.
On Friday, we go to the recruiter's office to sign him up, to sign his contract, and then he'll go through MEPS, and then he'll deploy to basic training. He's not happy about where his basic training is, but Fran, he's just going to have to deal with it. Fran, he's going to San Antonio. Fran,
Oh.
he asked what their weather was like.
Well, what's
Oh,
the
that's going to be hot.
I told him the
See,
sun's a
that's
little
where
cooler.
my dad
so.
was shipped after the Japan thing in COVID when he got off the ship.
Yeah.
It was very bad conditions that they were living in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was when my dad was
I
shipped.
do have a
yeah.
question for Emma.
Okay.
Have you seen Supernatural?
No.
Freak!
Why not?
Fran,
I try to get her interested in
There's
haunted
some
stuff, but
things-
unless it's actually happening in her house or to somebody that was talking to us, she does not want to watch it. So
On YouTube.
It's on Netflix.
I'm
scares
scared as
her.
well.
It does scare me. It
I
scares
can
me a lot.
understand that.
Okay, Supernatural would probably
I can
not scare
totally
you.
understand
It's kind of
that.
half funny.
I mean, I think that my kids know it's a
no.
serious matter, you know,
Yeah,
because they've
because
seen
you're
stuff.
living it.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
living it on a day-to-day basis. I mean, it makes it very real when you're seeing what a parent is going through or what a family member is going through, and you're like, nope, I don't want any. That's how I
Yeah.
was. I mean, I don't mean when I was growing up, because even though I was experiencing stuff, I was really into the movies, really into the TV shows that we had then, but it wasn't until things shifted for me that I went, no, I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to see that anymore. I don't want to see those specific movies. I'm just done, because
I
you
don't watch
get
any
in-
of them.
Oh,
you
I
get
don't.
you get inundated. So
Well-
it becomes
and
a
it's
part
all
of your
made
daily
up.
life. It's
Well,
made
I'll
for
watch-
entertainment purposes, but there's
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's called drip factors in it, and so
Right.
there are sections of real things in with the make believe. So yeah, you're trying to figure out, okay, what's actually real out of that and what's not, and
Mm-hmm.
how good is it for my head and the
I
way I
know.
think, because
I
it
really
can
think
train
it's
you.
It really messes with you.
It really messes with you. Like Misty
Yes.
doesn't understand. I've done a lot of research on that stuff with my psychology stuff, and I've worked in mental wards, and it's not funny to
No.
talk about death and people and massacring people and all these things. I
Yes.
mean,
Exactly.
I'm not happy about any of that stuff. I will watch Paranormal Caught on Camera, and like when I know it's fake instantly, I'm just
Yes.
fast forwarding through it because I don't want my son to see it either, because he's
Yeah.
really into it. But he's into it because of him wanting to not feel crazy. Like people need the validation, and that's why I
Yes.
like Ghost Hunters, because
I
I'm like
understand
that wasn't really fake. Like they cared about evidence, and I love the when in doubt throw it out. Like they really cared, I think, about things. Now people are just like the stupid Zach Biggins stuff, you know. It's just like, let's theater it up. And it's just not, that's not right, because people have real experiences and they need validation in that psychologically. They really do, to feel like they're not
But
crazy.
I get that point of view, but I think there's also a lot of people that watch it as a sense of if you can't laugh,
Yep.
you're gonna cry.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
outside of themselves.
Yes, because some people, like, for example,
I
when
don't
me and Eric
know.
were doing the emergency response team, friend,
Yeah.
there was nights where we would be talking in here in the kitchen, and Kimberly would come in and she's just terrified.
What?
And this is when you were younger,
Bruh.
friend, and we gave her a protection stone.
I don't believe it.
And this is when I figured out Kim is a lot like me, because Eric gave her this little tiny stone for protection, and she went in the backyard and got a different stone, and it's 4 pounds, and she slept with that fricker all night, Fran, and like, because anything that came into the room, she'd bash to hell with it.
Well,
Hey, I
I'm going
still
to tell
got
you
it.
something. Everybody talks about black tourmaline and black obsidian and a bunch of others, but my dad gave me, when I was in high school, my dad and my stepmom used to go to either, because they lived in California, they used to go to Tijuana a lot. They used to go to Taiwan. Yeah. No, Thailand. Excuse me, Thailand. God, I always got those two confused. Anyway, They used to go to Thailand, and so he would buy me gifts periodically. And one of the things that he had sent me was a tiger's eye stone, and I still have it to this day.
Those are
Although
so
I don't,
pretty.
and it's beautiful. It's about yay big, about like that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop wearing it. And to this day, it's one of the reasons why I am drawn, and I did not understand that. And I would lay odds before he got really, really religious, because it was before that, that he would send me little things, and I think personally he got told this is what, or drawn to, because I think he had his own abilities. It makes sense, because everybody's like, oh, you have to have this stone, or you have to go with what you are drawn to.
Yeah.
That makes that your soul knows that this is the right stone. For whatever reason, this is the right stone. So, and because there is energy and frequency in stones, and people are like, oh, that's so BS, that's so this, that's so... No, it's not. Look at crystals. Look at the science around crystals, and the fact that so many crystals used to be used across this planet in ancient times. So, and that's something that a lot of people don't take that into consideration. So it makes sense that she had to choose the stone that would work for her.
Yeah, well,
Kudos.
Friend, I can't have black tourmaline. I'm not allowed.
Why?
I don't know. But me and Eric were walking, we were going to an investigation and to help a lady. And I got out of my car. He handed me a piece of black tourmaline. I put it in my pocket. And we walked to the front of the store where we were all meeting. Put my hand back in my pocket and it was gone. There's no holes in my pocket. Friend, there's no way it left my pocket. It was just gone. And this piece was probably about an inch long and half an inch wide. Friend, and I cannot carry it on me. It leaves.
Can't you hold it in your...
Even if I have a necklace with it on it, I lose it. It's gone.
It dematerializes. That's what that's called.
Yeah,
Can't
hello,
you hold it in
dog
front of you
snoring.
and stare at it?
It won't stay with me.
No,
You
it's a
see it
different
disappear?
dog.
Friend, so
It
Nikki,
dematerializes.
I use tiger's eye.
Good grief, dog.
Can you
Yeah, I mean, I actually have black tourmaline and was it amethyst. Other things I'm just really not drawn to.
Why
So yeah, but I think that I have a black tourmaline rock that I use as a banishment rock when I go in to do get rid of the baddies, the demons and the baddies kind of thing when it's a really bad situation. Again, it's really rare. But if I don't have it with me, just very huge difference. I have to do a lot more work. It's just when I stick that stone up, it's like I mean business and start Hail Marying like crazy and Our Father, and I bring a specific holy water too. That's more powerful than even the exercise waters. So kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Friend, all right,
It can
ladies
really
and
make
gentlemen,
a significant difference.
we are at the end. It is 12:04. Friend, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Emma, and thank you, Kimberly, friend, for joining us tonight. Friend, next week, I have no idea what the hell we're going to talk about.
Politics.
We are
I
not
mean,
talking
no.
politics.
Come on.
Friend, we
No.
don't do that.
History. History.
Some
No.
extra
I like
spicy
history.
spicers.
I could talk to you about the research I've done about this, past life that this woman, I told you, she was on shows and everything like that, from 19 like 70s, 80s on, and she wrote a book about things and even found her family. So it's really interesting. She drew maps her whole life since she was like 2 years old, and still had them. And just had like really crazy memories. So it's very interesting. And she worked with a psychologist who was doing studies this is back then in the like early 80s, or I think up to 88. So it's very interesting about stuff that they found research-wise under hypnosis, which I do actually do hypnosis. And it's very interesting how things come out of people.
Sure.
Deceitful things usually that they've done that they feel guilty for. And some of that kind of stuff was coming out of her as well, too, in a way. So,
all right, well,
interesting.
Let's do that. We will talk about past lives and Rosella's story. So, friend, thank you for joining us, everyone. Do remember, on the 9th, there will be no show, as me and Kayla
Just about to ask. Okay.
are headed to reunion again this year.
Oh, yeah.
And I have been told not to sit in a parking lot doing it, and I really can't anymore with the way we run the show. So, friend.
Well, I actually have an event, if I could plug it for a second.
Yeah.
So, in Troy, downtown Troy, Ohio, where I'm from, then my hometown, it is basically at Cherry Bottle Street, and you can look on my Facebook page under @Readings by Rosella, also on TikTok as well, and you can sign up there. It will go really fast. There's not very many slots. So basically sign up early, and then you actually get a free glass of wine or cocktail with it. I think it's about like 30 minutes long. You can do family and individual as well. And then I do have a few slots left for my November 1st event, but that is invite only. So message me on Facebook or TikTok if you are interested.
Perfect.
So, but I will, and please just look at my event page because I'm going crazy in July.
Yeah.
July through pretty much November.
So everyone check out Rosella C. Rowe on Facebook and on Amazon as well for her books. And then where do we find Emma's book?
Emma is so we have a book together, Oscar Goes to School, that I illustrated, we wrote together as well. And that is on Amazon.
Pizza.
And then the Pizza Turtle is on Amazon. They're actually all on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Books A Million. And some independents do carry it, but you have to maybe see if they can order it. It just depends on the store.
Dad,
Perfect.
can we buy one?
We have.
I already have the pizza.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then she's doing a shark book about lemon sharks, an informational book
We
that
need
is
to buy
going
that
to
one.
come out in a year.
We need to buy that one.
Okay, well, maybe let her finish it first before we try and buy it.
It's finished. It just needs to be published.
It's just with the publisher. But yeah, and then my blog is my haunted travel blog, and that I have a new article coming out on the 1st of every single month at 9:30 in the morning. And Cole, I was wrong. It's coming out in October, yours, about the ghost car. And then the next one I have just written, actually about Mother Mary, and my experience of her appearing to me, is coming out November 1st. So there's just a bunch of different things up there. So whatever you're into, I have a thrilling story that they're all true, or happenings to myself or experiences in my daily life. So it's never boring. I wish for boring, but not boring.
And Nikki, when are we doing? When are you doing Restore Belief?
I am gonna go ahead and do one tomorrow at 7:30. So I had a bunch of different subjects, and now it's kind of like all gone out of my head because of the horrible stuff that has gone on. So we'll see what happens, because I thought I wrote them down. So we'll see. But it's 7:30 p.m. tomorrow, Restore Belief with Nikki on YouTube.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and with that, we are out of here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us. And we'll see you next week for our last show of June. Jesus, really?
Yep. Yeah.
Damn it. All right, guys.
Bye,
End of
Everybody
June.
have a good night, and we will talk to you later.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Data transfer complete. System malfunction. Please evacuate immediately. Program terminated.
Son of a biscuit eater.